Tuesday, Plus Sports and PlusTvAfrica. My name is Wally Scott. Welcome on the show. Mukail, I've always told people, they have no idea what goes wrong
and what goes
right behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They just watch a show and they enjoy the program and they're like, nice show.
Yes.
They have no idea.
It's like the magician.
They don't have no idea when Debola will do his own. Nobody will hear that one.
It's like the magician. He doesn't let you know how the tricks are done.
But you enjoy the show. Okay, now the Super Eagles camp in Tangier, Morocco, opened yesterday, Monday, with a trio of Wilfred Ndidi, Kelechi Iheanacho, and Chidera Ajegunle among the early arrivals. The officials based in Nigeria, along with Kaizer Chiefs of South Africa goalkeeper Daniel Akpeyi, arrived Tangier at 6 p.m. yesterday. Now, 10 out of the 24 invited players are now in camp, with the rest expected to join their teammates on Tuesday. The team will hold their first training session today. The Super Eagles will face the Lone Stars of Liberia in Tangier on Saturday and then host the Blue Sharks of Cape Verde in their final group game in the qualifiers at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos, next week, Tuesday. The three-time African champions top Group C with 9 points from 4 matches. Now, players in camp so far: Daniel Akpeyi, Kevin Akpoguma, Jamilu Collins, Paul Onuachu, Ola Aino, Wilfred Ndidi, Frank Onyeka, Alex Iwobi, Chidera Ajegunle, and Kelechi Iheanacho. That's about it. I think so far so good. 10 players, but 10 fantastic, talented players. So far so good. The good news there is that some of the players are actually coming on the edge of good news for them. They're coming in with high spirits. Kelechi is still scoring. We're not scoring in a while, but at least he's playing for his team regularly.
Yes.
Victor Osimhen doing so well. Ola Aina, fantastic where he's playing. Maduka Okoye just signs a new deal with Watford. I think that's fantastic, and we hear that he just might be the first choice goalkeeper at a point. That's him. That's fantastic.
It's very good that majority of our
are doing well.
Are not only doing well, but they are starters, first team players, first 11 players for their respective
I think the only
clubs.
person in this team who doesn't have a first team shirt was actually Maduka Okoye. And now he's the second team string man for Watford now, which is all those community shields and all that. He gets to play for them. I think it's fantastic.
Regardless of even that, the fact is the Premier League and European leagues around the world are orders of magnitude better than the leagues we have in Africa. It's unfortunate. We wish it wasn't so, but we enjoy watching these players when they play for their clubs, and hopefully that good spirit will translate into the football. Unfortunately, I know we've complained endlessly about the manager's tactics and whether he knows how to use the players. It seems to me like every time we call these players home to come represent us, the manager is figuring out all over again the best way to deploy them. Hopefully, this time around, he gets the tactics right.
I just think this guy, like Shewajida Gawon said, plays on the safe side of the fence. He brings these guys who are professionals, who actually train with good managers, good facilities, and he just brings and says, guys, we have come. It's against Liberia, go and play.
Yes.
That's what I feel he does, really.
Yeah, well, who would have thought that I would miss the days of Mikel Obi as our captain? The fact is, at that time, the team seemed to be at its peak of maturity. There were a lot of leaders in the squad. The players had, most of them, especially Mikel Obi, had done well with their respective clubs and were of the mentality that they had to win something for the nation. This is the World Cup. We don't expect them to win the World Cup, but we expect them to qualify. We expect them to represent us very well and represent Africa very well.
Finally, before we go to our next discussion, complacency always tends to set in. And against Cape Verde, obviously, against CAR, he obviously set in. Now, we're seeing a team that is, Cape Verde is doing very well these days. Like I said earlier, what the new CAF president did was gave, with the new formats of the CAF qualifiers, most teams who never thought in the history of their generation they would ever get to be in the Nations Cup, talkers of the qualifiers, actually now have a chance to actually get there, you know. And the only thing we know about this film, the cartoon, the countries in Africa, the only thing we know about that country is the cartoon, Madagascar.
Yeah,
we only know Madagascar based on the film. We never thought, I never even remembered that it was on the African continent.
Yeah, to be honest, growing up, the name Madagascar sounded too good for Africa.
Exactly.
But
now we've seen them actually play qualifiers. They didn't do exactly well, but I'm sure the nation would have celebrated them just being in the qualifiers alone.
Yes, yes.
And Cape Verde have been involved in 3, 4, 5 major qualifiers now, and they are getting better by the day.
Speaking of complacency, we've seen it. It's a tale as old as Nigerian football. No matter how good our teams are, they go off to play the likes of Cameroon, Senegal. Anytime the hype is built up to critical mass, suddenly our players take their foot off the gas, and unfortunately, it has cost us a lot in the past.
Times.
What I believe is that a lot of the times these players don't feel, and I know you believe that patriotism should be the driving force, but I don't think these players feel like what they have to give to their club is commiserate to what they're getting back. To their nation, to the Super Eagles is commiserate to what they're getting back. Because unfortunately, it's not just about money, it's not just about fame, it's recognition. Sometimes it's about legacy, posterity, and a lot of these players know very well that when they hang up their shirts, other than sometimes they are called in by some politicians for a photo shoot. Other than that, they're not going to have the long-lasting legacy post their playing days. They will be recognized on a regular basis. FIFA on their birthdays will send birthday wishes on Twitter and maybe even gift baskets behind the scenes. But most Nigerians forget about these players, and the NFF or NFA,
whatever they choose to be, whenever they need money,
suddenly forgets that these players exist. No one's keeping track of their well-being, state of mind.
So they have to make the money now.
So they have to do what's best for themselves.
I think it's sad for us to note what Mukael just said now seems like a joke, but it's not. And the truth be said, the reasons why in Nigeria and many other African countries the government tends to be involved in sports is because we always run to them when we need money. We always run to them when we have a major tournament. So when it's time for them to ask for how do you spend our money, it becomes Gobe. And that's why the NFF are always the NFF when they don't need Nigeria's money. When they want Nigeria's money, they suddenly transform to NFA.
The truth is,
they can only get money as an association, not as a federation. And then when the government now says, good, NFA, how did you spend our money? Overnight, you have to become federation again. And you can't ask. And if you tell them anything, they'll go to CAS and say government interference again.
The problem is, obviously the problem is that the funding of the NFF or the NFA by the government is done
NFF
with
should only
handshakes.
depend on NFF should only depend ordinarily on private investors and the money they get from FIFA or CAF, whichever competition they're going for.
Yes.
But when they go to the government, they become NFA, which means the government can ask them, how did you spend my money?
Well, the problem is that even those deals are handshake backroom deals.
Yes.
By personal individuals who are representing the ministry and representing the NFA. Ultimately, when that one administration leaves or someone else is in a position to ask questions, suddenly it behooves them to be NFF because the person who they shake hands with is no longer the one asking for an audit.
When I was growing up, it was described in different derogatory names. It was called the slum. It was called the ghetto. At a point, it was called a black spot. It was only criminals existed there. But with time, that area metamorphosized into an oracle to bring out talents in musicians, footballers. And I read a headline a few years ago when Taribo was the case study, Taribo West, and he said a star is born from the slum. And I felt it was derogatory to Ajegunle to have said Taribo West, a star is born from the slum.
But we understand that the hardship of life, heat, pressure turns sand into diamonds. And that's obviously what we get sometimes. I said sand, I meant coal. Turns coal into diamonds, turns sand into glass. So sometimes, the best things do come from the seemingly most undesirable places.
Wow. But somebody has come to actually bring the stars, past and present, from Ajegunle together with an award. And we have Taribo West, we've got Odion Igalo, a whole lot of them who have actually made us proud in the past. Igalo played for Man U about 2 seasons ago. He's back in and I think it's good for us, really. Now, plans have reached advanced stages for a successful maiden edition of the Ajegunle Football and Sports Gold Awards. The event, which is being organized by Kobe's Global Multi-Dimensional Projects Limited, has a theme: Football #1 Global Industry and Unifier. The event is scheduled to hold at the Highbrow Abayomi Hall. Ajegunle will take place on December 4th, 2021. According to the CEO of Kobe's Global, Prince Ogaga Wowo, the annual awards is aimed ostensibly to recognize and celebrate heroes and heroines from Ajegunle that have contributed to present enviable status of the community as Nigeria's biggest sports talent factory. Prince will be on our show on Thursday or Saturday, one of the two. He has agreed to come on the show and tell us what actually spurred him. But he says that what I learned from what he said initially off air, he says that what sports has done for Ajegunle, nobody knows. But he and people who live in Ajegunle know that. There are a lot of criminals end up on the field of play abroad today, instead of being in jail or dead from a gunshot from the police officers. Some already missed their way and were going to way of armed robbery, prostitution and all that. And then for some reason, sports brought them back. Sports took them off vices. You know, I remember vividly Daddy Shoki, who said that the night he was supposed to go and rob with his friends was when the record label came and said, "Guy, they want to see you now." And he left them and everybody died. But he didn't go because he went to sign a deal with the record label. And one of the biggest artists, musical artists in Nigeria today is definitely Daddy Shoki. And so what this man is saying now, Prince is saying now, is that how many people have found their ways back, had lost it initially, through sports in Ajegunle.
I know we're here to talk about strictly sports, but this story and everything we know about Ajegunle, the development of sports in the locale, and all the talents that have been produced in that area, it reminds us that when it comes to criminal behavior, when it comes to people doing bad things to other people, the truth is opportunity can lift and change the course of someone's life. And even now, in some of our prisons, there could be programs that bring them sports as a way of making up for past mistakes, a way forward so that when they leave prison, there is less of a chance that they will go back to crime, go back to criminal behavior. Because if they are committed to something as productive, as fulfilling as sports, and sports is fulfilling, even without financial reward on the table, sports is fulfilling because at the end of it, by the time you're done, you're exhausted, you feel like something that has been accomplished.
Now, Barcelona president Xavi Hernandez has their new head coach in front of thousands of fans at the Camp Nou yesterday. The 41-year-old Barca great signed his contract, which runs until 2024, on the pitch alongside club president Juan Laporta. Xavi joined after Barca paid his release clause with Qatari club Al Saad. He will replace the sacked Ronald Koeman. Struggling Barca, a 9th in La Liga, 11 points adrift leaders Real Sociedad, and 10 behind arch-rivals Real Madrid. After the presentation, Xavi talked about how discipline will be a major factor in his project as a Barcelona manager. That's an ouch talk from Xavi. Ouch. When he says discipline is the first thing he's going to inculcate, he was talking about Messi. Definitely. He didn't say any names. But it was like, I'm coming here to, first of all, instill discipline. And we know the most indisciplined player in Barcelona off the pitch was Lionel Messi.
Well, players like Messi, Ronaldo, even Ibrahimovic, players of that caliber, players of that level, managers, especially managers who didn't grow, develop them into the stars that they become or became, they have to cope with the recognition that these are stars, the team depend on them, and you cannot.
But you must respect him as the coach. He's still the coach.
Still.
Yes, you're the man. At a point, Messi wanted whoever he liked to be in the team. He wanted to be involved, But
then, not only the club, because I think Mourinho faced up against it at Madrid more than anywhere else in his career. The fact is, player power.
All the Spanish players went up against Mourinho because of Ronaldo.
Yes, and the dressing room broke up into factions: the Portuguese, the Brazilians, and then the Spaniards. And oftentimes, when a club is as big as Barcelona, a club is as big as Real Madrid, they sometimes pay a lot of deferential treatment to these stars, the Lionel Messis and the Ronaldos of the world. And when they do that, they send a signal to incoming managers that, look, no matter what, sure, a manager can be replaced quicker and more efficiently than the first 11.
Yeah.
But when you're the star player, it is even more of a reality that the manager's position is less secure than the star player, because the star player just needs to be, he just needs to perform his own individual duties. The manager has to cope with managing 11 and 25-man squad that have to all perform every day.
Because they get paid.
Because they get paid. And when they don't perform, he has to make the right tactical and personnel decisions at the right time during the right matches. What's interesting about this story is that at the end of the day, they say in Nigeria, success is dependent on not what you know, but who you know.
Yeah.
Ronald Koeman was never going to succeed under Laporta. The man never even wanted him to be manager.
In the first place, yeah.
In the first place, which meant that resources, because sure, the Barcelona team, the Barcelona club had to curtail their spending, have had to make deals that didn't seem bright, but had more financial gain in the long run. Ronald Koeman couldn't make certain choices. He couldn't bring in certain players. He couldn't improve the squad. He couldn't remove some dead weight. Someone like Dembele is still being offered a new contract, even though he has played probably less games than Bale at Madrid.
Yeah, he plays more games on the injury table than.
Yes, someone said online that his career as a professional patient is being interrupted with his side hustle as a footballer.
True. Now, the reigning NBA champions Milwaukee Bucks visited the White House yesterday, and they were greeted by United States President Joe Biden. The Bucks are the first NBA team to visit the White House since the Cleveland Cavaliers were honored there in 2016. NBA teams did not visit the White House during the Trump years amid team activism against police brutality and the Black Lives Matter movement. Team superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo took to the podium and spoke on behalf of his teammates and coaches, thanking their families and speaking about his own humble beginnings in Sepolia, an immigrant neighborhood in Athens, where experienced illegal immigrants from Nigeria struggled to support Giannis and his siblings. The Bucks had the day off following an upset loss to the Washington Wizards the day before. The Bucks won their first NBA championship in 50 years on July 20th, beating the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. Well, Giannis talks about his Nigerian parents, how they went through a lot in Sepolia in Athens, and how it's elating to be actually taking pictures with the United States president and being on the same table with him. And he says that speaks about what hard work can do to you eventually. Don't stop us, go on.
Yes, he may not know it, but he has a lot of fans in Nigeria.
No doubt,
and
yeah.
The Nigerian...
I made up my mind I would only pronounce his name as Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, the Nigerian experience is kind of similar to what he's talking about. Hard work is what makes you. It forges you into the champion that you hope to be one day, and it can take you places you've never imagined you'd ever go. Meet people you never thought you'd ever be in the same room.
That's how tall he is. Wow, that's how tall he is.
Yes, he makes the rest of us look like midgets.
We're very short, yes.
Hobbits,
dwarfs. Come on. Now, the New York City Marathon winners regrouped atop the Empire State Building for a photo op yesterday. Now, a day after Olympic champion Perez Chepchicher was the first woman to cross the finish line of the 50th running of the New York City Marathon on Sunday, surviving a thrilling 3-day battle before sprinting for the finish line, and fellow Kenyan Albert Correa won the men's race. Chepchicher is the first athlete to pick up Olympic gold and win the famed 5-borough race in the same year as she crossed the finish line in 2 hours, 22 minutes and 39 seconds, with compatriot Viola Cheptegei and Ethiopian Ababel Yeshane finishing second and third. Now, Swiss Marcel Hogg won the men's wheelchair division for the 4th time in 1:31.24 seconds, and Paralympic champion Madison de Rosario was the first Australian to win the women's wheelchair race. Now, I have seen the marketing guy for the Lagos City Marathon, Bukola Olokpade, consistently explain to Nigerians, listen, you don't have to win the marathon just yet. The idea is to bring the world to Nigeria, Lagos State first off. With time, you guys will get to win it, but not winning it is not the most important thing now. Now, this is the New York City Marathon. Now, it's been here for like forever. This is the 50th edition. Not one American has won it in all 50 years. And the marathon is still going on. This particular one was won by Kenyans, male and female. Where I'm going to is that Nigerians should slow down about that. Nigerians must win the Lagos City Marathon. We might in due time.
You know, these countries who have like the New York Marathon, and I mean, come on, the New York Marathon is just one of the many marathons that are hosted in the United States. One thing the sports of marathon racing tells you, what it's supposed to teach you, is that in life, it's about the long-term goal, not the immediate success. I would rather go play basketball, play football, play any other sports than just jog for exercise, rather than do it on the level that these people do it, because the level they do it, it tells you endurance is the key word. And enduring hardship, prolonged for a long time, until such a time as you finally reach the goal, that is the point of a marathon. And even the point of hosting it is a marathon race in the hopes of one day winning it.
That's what they say. Life is not a race. It's actually a marathon. It's a long... So I'm leaving you on the show today with a Bundesliga match, Greuther Fürth against Eintracht Frankfurt. Mikhail, thank you very much. Join us same time tomorrow, same station, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. My name is Wally Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your hearts, do some sports.